Hello, my loves. This is Victoria and Katha from Responding to Life. First and foremost, I'd love to thank each and everyone who has been supportive of Responding to Life ever since we began our work. Responding to Life aims to empower, inspire, and motivate lives. And this we do all across our social media platforms, especially on our YouTube channel. Now, our vision is to be of impact to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives, where we aim to move from a negative mental state to a positive mental state. Thus, our focus is on mental health and daily life issues. Our mission is to identify issues that concern the youth especially, but all other individuals, and be able to be of help through counseling, through videos, and much, much more. So stay connected and let us know how we can be of assistance, and also you can be of assistance by keeping the motivation train moving. See you on the internet waves.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Victoria and Katha, and as you heard, we are very grateful to all of you for keeping it at Responding to Life. And as you can see, we are beginning something new, something great, something amazing that is starting today called Wisdom Wednesday. And before we even begin, please share this broadcast, share the show so that other people can also participate and be part of the show. Now, I won't be doing this alone. I will be together with my lovely lady co-host Eve D'Angel. Now,
Hi,
Eve.
Victoria.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Lord. I was experiencing technical issues. I was experiencing technical issues on my end. It was a whole mess. I thought we are going down. But good thing that we are here. Well, these technicalities. But that is a great start to the show. Now, welcome everybody. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays with Responding to Life. And myself and Eve will be hosting you, and we'll be also hosting some other people. So stay tuned every Wednesday. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Eve the Angel. I am an artist, a mental health advocate, and I'm grateful to be here.
Yes. Now, Eve, would you tell the people what our topic for the day is?
So, we're doing an attitude check,
Yes.
and yeah,
And
that's
Eve, what is attitude? Can you just bring us into the whole vibe of attitudes while we wait for people to come in? Tell us a little bit about attitude, why attitude is important, and wherever you are, please tell us where you're watching from, and then join in the conversation. Hashtag Wisdom Wednesdays and hashtag Responding to Life, and we will continue the conversation. Now, Eve, please take us away. Eve, are you there?
well,
Great.
attitude is a set of emotions,
Mhm.
behavior, and it's just
And I think we lost Eve. I have a feeling we lost Eve. Today, the internet is doing as it wants to do. It's playing by itself. Now, welcome to the show. My name is Victoria Kata. Now, what is an attitude? An attitude is a set of behaviors, a set of beliefs that you carry around, and they show and push you towards what is going to happen. And they often determine how your outcome is going to be and your result is going to be. Now, with that said, what attitudes do to us and how we are going to have an attitude check. We're going to have a list of things and a list of attitudes, or rather, a list of ways we need to improve our attitudes. Now, Eve being back, Eve, please tell us, continue telling us what is an attitude and how do we check our attitude?
Polly about that.
attitude is a set of emotions, and it's a set of beliefs or even behavior about something. An
Mhm.
object, it can be an object, an event, a
Yeah.
person. Yeah. So
And
you. Mm-hmm.
the thing I want us to talk about in the first section, in the first 30 minutes, is
Yeah.
personal attitude towards other people. And then
Mm-hmm.
the second section, we want to discuss how our attitude towards life can determine our outcome. So, first
Yeah.
and foremost, our attitude towards people and a set of you said our emotions, right? So the first section we're going to deal with the emotions. The
Yeah.
second section we're going to deal with beliefs, right? And in this aspect, we're going to
Yeah.
deal with emotions in terms of jealousy. We're going to deal with emotions in terms of kindness. We're going to deal with emotions in terms of us as people, right, towards other people. And then in the second section, we're going to deal with our attitude towards life and how it determines us our progress. Now, before then,
Yeah.
what do you have to tell to the people a little bit about yourself, and what is your attitude generally towards people?
Um. So, as Eve, my attitude towards people, I usually like to first of all learn who the person I am talking to, who they are, what their personality is.
Mhm.
And I do believe that every single person deserves a chance to prove themselves.
Mhm.
So I am not a believer of the way someone can come and tell you, I don't know, a particular person is like this, is like this, is like this. I kind of tend to believe that you should learn or have your own experience before you take someone else's experience and use it as your own. Yeah. And
What?
actually, one of the reasons as why
Mhm.
people have attitudes to
Mhm.
one of the reasons as to people have attitude towards other people is experience or even observation using other people's experience,
Mhm.
which I don't like, because you find that someone else's experience or how they respond or react to things is very different from who you are.
Mhm.
So I it's important. It's really important for you to have your own experience, create your own emotional feelings about someone, and then afterwards, your own attitude towards them.
And I think that's something that's very, very important to note. Once you have a certain perspective with people, avoid having a prejudiced perspective. Now, this also goes to talk about, aside from judging people or rather having an attitude towards people because of who they are, I would also want to talk
Yeah.
about having a certain attitude because of who we are. One of the things that is my pet peeve, and one of the things that I truly, truly dislike when it comes to people, it's people who treat others in a certain way. So you'd, for instance, go to a restaurant and you're probably on a date. And this is one of the things that I hate when it comes to people who I'm dating. If you're a rude person, or you think that there's some people who you need to be rude to, for instance, waiters, waitresses, and so on and so forth, for me, that's a no-go zone. There are people who have constant attitudes. And to be honest, in our generation, it's become a thing. So you'd hear people
Yeah.
say, "Yeah, I have a resting B face, and that's just me, right? I have that's just who I am," and it's not in a nice regard. It's in a very, very negative regard. So you realize that people are being mean, people are being uncouth, as in a video that we're gonna see in a few. People being uncouth and being very negative towards in their approach towards other people, and this coming from inside, it has nothing to do with you. So
Yeah.
for instance, let's say we're on a date, as I said, somebody's on a date, or we go out, you and I go out, and you're being unnecessarily rude to the waiters or the helpers or the security guards and so on and so forth. This is a personality trait, right? And this is one of the things that I really, really wanted us to discuss in terms of attitude
Yeah.
checks. What do you think about this, Eve?
I actually think that is a learned behavior. You know, people think that attitude is something that cannot be changed.
Mm,
It is a learned behavior, meaning the same way you learn to treat people that way, you can be
mhm.
able to unlearn it
Yeah.
and learn the proper way of treating. I
Mm-hmm.
actually particularly do not like someone who treats people badly because they think they're better than them. And that's the first character check that I usually check. If you treat someone badly because you think you're better than them,
Mm-hmm.
then no go for me. Especially if I am on a date with you and you treat someone, a waitress, badly because you think that, oh, even someone messed up your order, and you feel like you deserve to treat them badly because they made a mistake. That is absolutely wrong. It's You definitely need an attitude check for sure. Yeah.
And I think those are one of the some of the things that we really need to address today. In a cruel world that people have gotten used to now, or rather sort of used to, people always try to justify their
Mhm.
crudeness with something called realness. Now, what is the line between realness and rudeness? Because I have people who have a hard time understanding the difference. Sorry?
Pardon, Victoria.
There are people who have a hard time understanding the
Mhm.
difference between realness and rudeness. Now, where do we
Mm.
draw the line between realness and rudeness? Because you'll experience somebody will come and tell you, "Oh, you know what? You don't even look too good today," and for them, they would consider that to be real. When somebody comes and tells you you are foolish, and for them, they are like, "This is being real." Right? And that attitude, it's for them, to them, it's being real. To others, it's being rude. So, where do you draw the line between having a bad attitude, being a rude person, and being a real person, being a real person? Because I often get that question. I often get that question. Where do you draw the line? I like how Eve is just laughing. Eve, can you hear me? And I think we've lost Eve again. I think we've lost Eve again. So I'm just going to quickly go through that. Now, one of the things that is very, very important in terms of how you operate with people, being real is not justified by being rude or uncouth. And I actually have a video that explains that a little bit, and then we're going to quickly dive into that. So let me show you the video, and then we're going to bring Eve back again. So here we go.
Attitude changes. And I kid you not, your bad attitude will not get you too far. Some people think that being unruly, being rude, being impolite is the way to go and it will get you so far ahead of life. And you confuse this for being real. It is not being real. You're just rude. You're just rude. And that's just it. Politeness, kindness, and affectionate and humility and empathy, sympathy will go so far that you wouldn't even believe it. Practice kindness, practice politeness. It doesn't cost so much. And especially to the people who think that there's some people who don't deserve it and therefore you choose to treat people really, really badly, change your attitude. Those people are the ones who even deserve it the most, and your blessings will come from that. So, with that said, have a good rest of your week and see you in the internet waves.
And I think this says it all. There's a really thin line between being rude and being real. However, one of the things that we should understand is that realness does not necessarily have to be accompanied by rudeness. Realness can be shared in a much softer way. Realness can be communicated in a very, very kind way. And one of the things and the personality traits that's very important to have in life is humility, is being compassionate towards other people, and it's being considerate of other people's emotions. I think that's one of the things that we really, really lack. And today, beginning the Wisdom Wednesdays, we found it very, very important to address these issues because we're walking around with people who generally just feel that they can say whatever they want to say, do whatever they want to do, behave in whatever way that they want to behave in, and it's okay. It's not okay. Do not go around, and especially in a generation where kindness is not a lot, we don't find that many kind people. It all begins with us, and it all begins with you and I. Isn't that right, Eve? I can see your back. Eve, can you hear me?
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Yeah,
but I
that is
think,
so right, Victoria. We need to be. Mhm. We need to be kind to people, and we need to treat people the same way we'd like to be treated. And I think if we treated people the way we'd like to be treated, I think it will solve uh, the whole attitude aspects, because you find that you should have a positive attitude towards people, and it's good to go with a positive and an optimistic attitude towards another human being beforehand, because you find that people have had maybe a bad experience in the past, and then they use that bad experience to treat other people badly, and you prejudge someone before you getting to know them, and then you expect that they will hurt you or they will do something just like you experienced in the past, and that is the wrong way to handle things.
mm,
You'll give someone a chance to prove themselves whether they are good to you or not, and even if they're not good to you, it doesn't mean that you should do the same thing. You should be nice to everyone, whether they are nice to you or not.
but
Yeah,
you,
and going back to what, Victoria, you were asking about, people thinking the difference between being rude and reality. I think every single person has their own opinion.
mm, mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, go on, go on.
I think every single person has their own opinion about life. And I believe that every single person, your opinion is your own. Like, you shouldn't instill your opinion of someone to them. And you find that uh, people will think that maybe you don't look nice, and then they will instantly tell you, and there are things that you should keep to yourself. Just because you think it doesn't mean that you should say it.
Now, one of the things that I feel is a rule of thumb. This is the thing that I feel is a rule of thumb. You can be real, but there's
Yeah.
certain things that just go overboard. My rule of thumb is never comment negatively on people's appearance. Never ever comment negatively on people's appearance, because it
Okay.
don't do
Yeah,
that.
I was
And
talking about when people are rude and then they say that it is reality.
mm-hmm.
I tend to think that is, you're trying to cover up for your bad attitude with saying that something is real.
I mean, of course,
Let's say
of course.
I am
Yeah.
wearing something that is dirty,
Mm,
and you want to be rude about it,
mm,
and you don't know what happened to me. You don't know what
yeah.
happened. Maybe I fell down.
Mm, yeah. Eva, you there?
Yeah.
Eva, you there? This is the thing. I'm just gonna quickly say this and add on to that. This is why I have a rule of thumb in terms of commenting on people's appearance. Number one, don't comment on people's appearance. People's appearance, however big I may look, however small I may look, however whether I've added weight, whether I've not added weight, especially if you don't know someone, don't feel the entitlement to comment on anybody's appearance. That's number one. Number two, again, just like Eve said, if, for instance, my clothes look a certain way, there's a way of saying something, right? And you don't necessarily need to be rude about certain things, because number one, you don't know what happened to me. You don't know where I'm coming from. You have no idea what's going on. So that's number two. Number three, do not comment on people's families. Don't negatively comment on people's families. I try as much as possible to keep away from certain things, because you don't know somebody's, like for instance, the appearance
Yeah,
thing.
I'm here.
I may be
Yeah,
overweight, underweight. Sorry. I may be overweight or underweight simply because I'm sick, right? I am sick, and be able to I cannot be able to uh, lose weight or gain weight. And this is why we are having an attitude check, because especially during COVID, people's mental health is being affected because of certain things and our attitude towards people. And it's very, very important to understand that things are changing, and also people are getting to worse places and very bad situations, simply because we cannot hold our tongues. We cannot hold our tongues, and we cannot be able to change the way we think or change the way we are behaving. And I think that this is very, very important. And then the other aspect of attitude, kindness goes a long way. Now let's start from kindness. And there are a few things that I had mentioned earlier on: kindness and gentleness, humility, and being compassionate. So let's handle each at its own, right? So number one, kindness. There's one thing that I learned about being kind. Kindness always comes back to you, regardless of the fact that it may not be immediate. That's number one. You may experience situations where you've acted out of kindness, you've acted out of your heart, you've acted out of your goodness. And what happens, let's say 10 days later or a year later, something good might happen to you. And you may not even understand why the good thing has happened to you. It may be because you acted out of kindness earlier on, and it came back to you in ways that you didn't even imagine. Have you ever been in a situation where you wonder, what happened and what did I do to deserve this, in a good way? You, for instance, got into a job situation where you didn't even expect to get into that job, and you questioning yourself. It may be an act of kindness that you had forgotten, completely forgotten, and it happened to you and it came back to you. Being compassionate. Sometimes we act out of so much cruelty that we don't understand the ability to be compassionate towards other people and understand their situations. So this comes in, for instance, if something bad happens and somebody does something to you, sometimes just a little bit of understanding and a little bit of compassion, being compassionate, can go a long way. And I have never seen a compassionate person go wrong, because it does more to you than it does to the other person. There's one thing that I live by: the aspect of grace. The same grace that has been given to me and has been shown to me is the same grace that I extend to others, regardless of what happened. So, for instance, if someone decides that they want to um, be a certain way towards me, it doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change who I am, because a lot of people end up changing their attitudes, changing the way they think, simply because they've been heartbroken. And I understand, it happens. It happens. And some things affect us to a level that we cannot understand. But one of the things that I learned is nothing should change my attitude towards people. So, for instance, if I've been heartbroken, that heartbreak is between me and that person. It shouldn't affect me and the next person that I'm going to date, right? It shouldn't affect me and how I behave towards others. Let's say a friend broke my heart. A friend broke my heart. That should not go in and affect how I am towards other friends or my trust towards other people, because people are different. People are different. And excuse me, my attitude and my thinking and my behavior towards people should only be dependent on me, not of others. It should only be dependent and highly dependent on me and my behavior and my ways and my values. That is what should propel my attitude. And I think that's something that's very, very important. Let's go on to being, we said kindness, we said compassionate, we say humility. Now, one of the things in terms of our attitude that really propels the other two is humility. being humble and being able to sit in advices, or being able to learn, being able to take a step back and listen to others and not blow your own horn, can really go a long way. Why? Because in the humility that you exhibit towards people, you end up getting much, much more knowledge, much wisdom, and a lot more within you. And that's one of the things that I have learned. In everything that I've learned, it's not because I am better than anyone else, but it's because you sit under the counsel of others, regardless of their age, their whatever things that may limit one's decision to listen to someone. But you sit under the counsel and you're humble enough to say that, hey, I don't know this and I'm willing to learn. I can see that Eve is back. We really are having a bad day with technicalities today. But Eve, what do you have to say? I don't know if you heard anything that I said. Are you back? Eve, are you back? Okay. We're having a very bad day with Eve today. But the show must go on. We continue until she confirms to me that her network is going well. Now, with the lessons of today, Wisdom Wednesday, we're dropping gems. We're dropping gems for an hour, and we're going to continue. And like I said before, Wisdom Wednesday is going to continue every single Wednesday from 7 p.m. Central European time to 8 p.m. Central European time, and that is 8 p.m. East African time to 9 p.m. East African time. So tell a friend to tell a friend. This is our first show. As you can see, we're dealing with attitude checks because that is the first thing that we need to check with ourselves before we can even continue with anything. Now, just a few comments that have come in. Saran Jojo goes on and says, responding to life, doing great, girl. Thank you very much. Together with Angel, we're doing amazing things and we are set to do more amazing things. Lad LADD says that's true. We should really respect other people's opinions, and I think this is in regard to the comment that was made by Eve, who said that people should respect other people's opinions. However, opinions should also come in a respectful manner. You don't need to be rude to people to be able to voice out your opinion. And like I said before, we're going to deal with the attitude towards people in the first half hour, which is almost coming to an end. And then we're going to deal with attitude towards life in the next half an hour, where we're going to go and dissect our attitude towards life and what that means for us and how that, as a result, can affect our output in life. Now, Sarah Njanja goes on and says, kindness is a language that we all understand in all aspects of life. Very true. And if there's one thing that I learned, never underestimate the power of a kind word, a kiss, a kind gesture, a kind show of love, or just kindness. It really goes a long way. Do you know that your attitude towards someone can be the determining factor between their choice to go on with life or their choice to end life? Now that we're in Suicide Prevention Month, let me tell you one thing that can actually limit someone or rather stop someone from committing suicide. Let's say you're walking down the street and you meet someone and someone is contemplating suicide. You don't know, but you end up bumping into the person and they probably drop some stuff that they were carrying. Do you know the fact that you say sorry and you help them pick up the stuff can be the little hope that they actually want to see or rather want to feel, or the little sign that they want to see before they can actually take their own lives? I have had testimonials of people who have stated that because of the nice word, I make an effort to compliment people everywhere that I go, especially people that I love. I tell them, I hype them up because you never know where somebody has gotten to, even people that I don't know. I would walk, and if I feel that somebody, or rather, if I smell someone, and I really, because I love scents, it really attracts me. So when somebody smells good, I make it a point that I'll go and say, hey, you really smell good. And that's just it. And that light compliment can actually go a long way. It can be the determining factor between somebody's choice to end their lives and their choice to actually keep on living on. Why? Because you've given them hope. Hope in the sense that people are still kind in the world, because some people choose to take their lives because they've lost all hope. They've lost all hope in goodness. They've lost all hope in kindness. They've lost all hope in just generally life. And your act of kindness can be the saving grace and the little hope that somebody needs to be able to continue. So, as we are about to move into the next section, and I can see Eve is hopping in and out, so we're just gonna bring her in whenever she's ready. But technicalities, and it's not a problem. So we're here, we're gonna continue, and we're gonna continue with the agenda. So, as I promised before, the show is going to be divided into two sections. And I hope in the first section, as you've already learned, and as I've also learned as well and reminded myself, number one, your attitude can be the determining factor between somebody's last choice of hope and somebody's really choice to lose hope. So be kind. Number two, your rudeness is not realness. You are just rude. And I will continue saying this, and I will say it until kingdom come. Being real doesn't need to be accompanied by being uncouth, doesn't need to be accompanied by being rude, doesn't need to be accompanied by being a bad human being. You can be real and be kind about it. I say what I want to say, but I say it in a very kind and gentle manner. And I think that's one of the things that we all need to learn. Number three, be able to exercise kindness, compassion, being compassionate, and humility. These things go a long way. In as much as you might feel that they are not giving back right now, trust me, in some few years, some few days, and in some things that maybe you will have forgotten of your acts, they will come back to you. And that's the attitude check that we need towards people. Now, as we take a short break, we're going to come back again and we're going to discuss our attitude towards life. And this is very interesting because I love talking about life and the attitude that we have towards life. And I will share with you a short testimony. So, see you after the break.
My loves, this is Victoria and Katha from Responding to Life. First and foremost, I'd love to thank each and everyone who has been supportive of Responding to Life ever since we began our work. Responding to Life aims to empower, inspire, and motivate lives. And this we do all across our social media platforms, especially on our YouTube channel. Now, our vision is to be of impact to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives, where we aim to move from a negative mental state to a positive mental state. Thus, our focus is on mental health and daily life issues. Our mission is to identify issues that concern the youth especially, but all other individuals, and be able to be of help through counseling, through videos, and much, much more. So stay connected and let us know how we can be of assistance. And also you can be of assistance by keeping the motivation train moving. See you on the internet waves.
And see you on the internet ways. My name is Victoria Nkatha. And as you heard, we're very, very grateful towards everybody that has been supporting Responding to Life to the level that we have grown to this point. Responding to Life is 5 years old. 5 years old. That's a whole child who's now going to school and growing and becoming, starting to write, to read, and everything. So thank you very, very much. And I will continue saying this probably throughout the year. But thank you so much. Now, where were we? We were discussing about attitude checks. Attitude checks. Very, very important. In the first section, we're having a few technical issues, but those have been corrected and we continue. Now, what we're going to do is that we're now going to go into the attitude towards life. We're going to go into our attitude towards life. And what is our attitude towards life? Our attitude towards life is how we behave and how we accept or how we deal with life, right? And one of the things that's very important is our mentality towards the things that we do, towards the things that we say, towards who we intend to become. Now, I wasn't always a positive person, and this is the testimony that I want to share. I haven't always been a positive person. Somebody asked me, and I can see Eve is back. Eve, can you hear me? Eve, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Eve, thank you, Lord. I was sharing a testimony. I was sharing a little testimony. I was saying that I haven't always been a positive person, and
Mhm.
I have always been a person who has taken life in a great way, because there are few obstacles that have happened throughout life, and to some degree, when I tell you I understand that life isn't all rosy, I really understand. And some people usually
Yeah.
say, so one of my friends, after hearing my story, you know what they said? They said, Victoria, you don't look like what you've been through. You don't even sound like what you've been through. And this made me tell them, hey, what I've been through, what is that supposed to look like? And you see, a lot of people usually take their struggles and it
Mhm.
manifests in their life. And I told them, I have not chosen to let my setbacks and my experiences affect the person that I am. The fact that I'm shining is all because my attitude towards life had to shift so that I don't look like my struggles. I don't look like what I want to be, because I am no longer that person. But the most
Mhm.
important thing is where I'm going. And you see, one of the things is that my growth and the person that I am is independent of what has happened. Independent, why? Because I choose to steer my life to where I want it to go to, right? And this is the attitude that I want us to talk about today.
Mm.
What's your experience, Eve? Because I know you're a mental health advocate and I know you're an artist and I know a little bit about your story.
Mhm.
Eve, go on. Eve, are you there?
Yeah. Mhm.
Eve? I really think Eve today is just, I think today Eve's whole situation is just a mess. And this is the thing. I know a little bit about her story, and someone says, um, someone says, Wakili Tom Rasto tuned in from Mombasa, Kenya. Thank you very much. Good job from my two friends. Thank you very much, Wakili. But now let's just take this whole thing and we'll bring back Eve some other time on the next episode, because we've really tried. But we need to finish this. We really need to finish this, and we really need to get out these points, because it's very important for us to understand how our attitude affects our output. Now, again, like I shared with the story, somebody asked me, you don't look like what you've been through. And I asked them, what does what I've been through look like? So they started narrating, like, you look a certain way, you have your life all put together, and so on and so forth. And I told them, this is because I've chosen not to use my life and my experiences as a setback. I've chosen not to use my life and my setbacks as a drawback to who I am and who I'm supposed to be. I told them, this is the thing. I believe I have a great destiny, and I don't care what anybody else says. I believe I have a great destiny. Number one, if anybody should understand this, I don't come from a privileged home. A lot of people think I come from a privileged home, like a very fancy, rich background, but I come from a wealthy background, wealthy in the sense that I have some great values instilled in me. And I have not waved aside from from those values. And with that, I also have gotten to understand how life works, because I'm not sitting down to wait for anybody to save me. I'm not sitting down to wait for anybody to come to my rescue. One thing that I understand is that my life is my responsibility, regardless of my background. And it doesn't matter who or where or what I've done, but the attitude. And that's what has gotten my family where it is, my mother where she is, my own person where he is, and much more, right? And this is the thing, your attitude really determines your output. So I think there's some cliches that I'm going to mention. However, I will mention them because they have worked for me. Number one, how you wake up every single day really, and I tell you with confidence, really determines how you're gonna have a good day or a bad day. Now, this is the thing, you wake up with a really bad attitude, trust me, your day is not gonna go anywhere. I kid you not. And this is experimented. There's some days where I have woken up really badly and my day hasn't gone well. Not because I anything bad has happened, but because of my attitude that has pulled everything down, right? And that is very important to note. When you wake up, you really set the pace for your day. And this is now, we're going to take this in steps: daily, monthly, yearly, and throughout your destiny. So this second part is all about our attitude towards life. Now, we dealt with attitude towards people and go on and watch that before, but now we're going to deal with attitude towards life. How you wake up, as I said, really determines how you're going to live and how you're going to go through your day. There are days where bad things happen to me, but because of my attitude and because of waking up in the right manner, it has really determined my course during the day. So I'd wake up, I'd be all happy. And let me tell you one thing that I learned how to do. You wake up, and while I'm showering, I'm listening to music, I'm dancing, I'm setting the pace, I'm setting the tone. When I'm doing my makeup, best believe it's not. This is why I take long to do my makeup and to shower, because I'm dancing. I'm dancing while doing these things. And it really sets my tone for my day and my week. Now, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna try Eve one more time. I'm gonna try Eve one more time, and then if it fails right now, I'm just gonna finish the whole situation. So, Eve, are you there? Eve, can you hear me? Whew. You know what? I'll have to finish this. So, number one, we said how I dance when I wake up, right? And how I move on when I go on my day. Number two, and if Eve can hear me, please write down in the private chats whatever you want to talk about, and then I can be able to relay to everyone who's watching. Number two, how you wake up and how you relate to people. So we're talking about how we relate to ourselves, and then now moving over to how we relate to others. So one of the things that I really love doing is going to my mom when she wakes up, or even talking to my mom when she wakes up, because she's such an energy bomb. In the morning, she's like boom, as in ready and set, and she's very happy in the morning. I don't know how she even manages that, but being able to get excited to see her every day is one of the things that really also set space for my day. So how you relate to the people that are around you. If you're living alone, it's not even about people who you live with, but people who you're gonna meet along the way, whether it's that cashier that you're gonna meet while going to school or going to work, whether it's that neighbor that you're gonna meet while going out, whatever it is, whoever it is, make sure that your choice of attitude towards the people you meet around you will be a positive one, because again, that can really influence how your day is going to go. Number three, your attitude towards your job and your school or your education or whatever it is you do during the day. This is very important. You spend 80% of your time in a week, or rather even in that day, at your workplace or your school place. Now, you need to love what you're doing. You really need to love what you're doing. Or you need to have an attitude of, even if you don't love what you're doing, you really just appreciate it because of other factors. There are very many factors to be able to appreciate what you're doing. And the fact that probably this is your income, this is where you get your money from, this is where you get your food from, should be a point of positivity. And that excitement of, yeah, I'm going to work, I'm going to school, and at the end of the day, bam, we got this, and I'm doing this because I want to be a great person. This is it. This is how you shift everything around you to being good. Everything that even has been made to be negative, you shift it towards being good. This is one of the things that I learned. And trust me, I have been a very much happier person. I'm not there yet. I am not there yet, but I've been a very much happier person. And one of the things that I would love to share with you, as I have learned as well, is the 7 stages of maturity, which also go into happiness. Now, I've gone into details with these 7 stages on the YouTube channel on Responding to Life, but I'm going to name them just quite shortly. Now, number one, if you want to change your attitude towards life, or you want to grow towards being a better person in life, you need to look at where you're at in these 7 stages and entirely shift your mentality when it comes to how you want to operate so that you can be able to grow. With growth comes happiness, and with growth comes greatness. So we're looking at 7 stages of growth, personal growth, right? Or maturity. Now, stage number one is victimhood. There is no way you're going to move anywhere with an attitude of victimhood, right? There's no way. You cannot live your life blaming everyone, blaming every situation that happens to you. Some of us blame the government for our miserable lives. We blame our family for our miserable lives. We blame our lack of richness for miserable life. We blame so much for our miserable lives. Now, if you're going to blame, and Eve tells me life is 10% what has happened to you and 90% what you do about it, very much. And she says that got me going regardless of what I have gone through. And I think that's very, very important. It's something that a lot of us hear, but then we don't internalize it, right? So, as I said, life is 10% what happens. However, there's so many of us who live in that victimhood stage. And that's the first stage of maturity and personal growth, which ends up becoming our attitude, right? And how we see life. So you're going around, you're playing the victim, you're saying that, oh, it's the government that the fact that I'm not rich, the fact that I'm not this and that and that and that is the government. How long will you blame the government for your life? How long? Wherever you are, how long are you going to blame the government for your life? There are others who blame their ancestors. You're blaming your ancestors. You blame your ancestors for your life. The fact that you weren't born into a rich family, the fact that you weren't born into wealth, the fact that you weren't born into this and that and that. You're blaming your ancestors, and you're saying that is the reason why you're not where you're supposed to be. Where you're supposed to be, as I said before, is completely determined by you. So, because of time, we're quickly going to run through the 7 steps of maturity. Now, number 2, we get into a conflict stage. A conflict stage where you really don't know who you are and you don't know where you're going. And don't worry, we are going to go through them. And I've shared this severally before, but I want us to repeat them because they are quite important in terms of our growth, and they helped me. And everything that I share is something that I personally have used and I personally have grown from. And before I continue, let me quickly go into the comment section. Vigezo Vialuga Nakakarasto says, some people look at some of us and they be like, you don't look like your past. I have on several occasions been disassociated from my family because of the strides that I'm making in my life. I feel that's very, very sad. But again, if you're making it and you really have taken your life in control, then I think it's something that you should continue doing and move on. But family, think about that. Sarah Njanja says, I agree with you, Victoria. Attitude is everything. It is everything, my love. It is everything. Vigezo says, the attitude that you have determines how you're going to handle yourself. It makes us suffer inferiority and superiority complex. Yes, it's about how we view ourselves and determine our position. I will get into that just in a few with the 7 stages of maturity and personal growth. Sarah just says, I learned from a good friend of mine from whatever energy we put out to the world has a way of coming back to us. I'm determined to stay positive always. And that's very true. That's very, very true. And it's very important that you realize that what you do is going to eventually come back to you. Mangi SK says, you're doing good work. Keep it up. Thank you very much. With my partner, Eve, who disappeared. Now, let's continue. Point number 2, you're getting into a conflict stage, a conflict between who you are, what you're supposed to do in life. And at times, this determines our attitude. Why? Because a lot of us who haven't yet figured out what our purpose is, we often get frustrated in life because we have no sense of direction. We have no sense of where are we going with our lives? What do we need to do with our lives? And sadly, this can really affect where you're supposed to go. And that's why wherever you are, it's not too late to determine what your purpose is. Once you find your purpose, some of us are living outside our purpose. We're living at places where they were only supposed to be stops rather than purpose. So find that which is your purpose. And I think Yokabi and I had decided that we were going to do a series on purpose, right? So find that which is your purpose, follow it completely. And I kid you not, you will now move from that point of conflict to a point of understanding yourself better and also being able to change your attitude towards life. Living in your purpose really makes you change your attitude towards life. I can tell you that for a fact. Living in your purpose, doing what you love to do, something that you don't struggle in and you don't see as a problem, right? You really end up changing how you're viewing life and your attitude towards life. So make a point of finding your purpose. Number 3, we have ownership. Complete ownership of who you are, taking full responsibility of who you are, taking complete ownership of what you do, the things you say, and saying it with your chest. And I think that's one of the things that is very, very important. Getting to that point where you own it. If I'm doing something, I'm owning it. If I'm saying something, I'm owning it. Do you know what this does to your attitude towards life? And I'm talking all about attitude because we really need to get that attitude checked. Having a mentality, or rather an attitude of I will own it, whether it's right, it's wrong, you should, let me tell you, I got to a point where I will say what I want to say in the most respectful way possible, as we stated in the first half, and I will own it, regardless of what it is. I will say it and I will own it. It's me who said it, and that's just it. It's me who did it, and that's just it. I am fully responsible for my mistakes. I'm fully responsible for my actions and for my words, and that's just it. Being able to take full ownership and responsibility for who you are, the things you do, and noting that you're also not perfect, therefore you're willing to grow every day. That attitude really changes how you see yourself in life. You move in terms of growth, you move in terms of attitude, and much, much more. So point number 4, we get to a point of concern. Now, when you move from victimhood, you move from conflict, you get to ownership, you now move on to concern. And this is concern about others. One of the most fulfilling things and the biggest attitude changes is actually being concerned, as you stated, being compassionate about people, being concerned about people. When you start seeing, okay, what can I do to be able to help a friend, to be able to be there for someone? It really changes your attitude in terms of who you are. Because when you think about how can I be able to help others, it makes you want to grow a lot. And also it can shift your attitude towards from not expecting anything out of life, but having now people make you think about life in a positive way, where you know that people are counting it on you. You know that you need to teach, you need to do something for someone else. You're concerned about the well-being of others. It really gives you some sense of fulfillment and also direction, regardless of the fact that you may not know who or what you really want to do. Getting to that point of concern for others and concern for the people around you, your home, your entire being, it really makes you shift your attitude from a negative state to a positive state, where you now are looking at life in a different direction, in a different way. It's no longer about me, it's about others. It's about me and what I can give to people, what I can be able to contribute in life with, what I can be able to give and leave on this earth, how I can be able to impact other people. That dynamically changes your attitude. And that's what we're looking at. We just got a little bit more comments, just a couple more. Bigezo says, Bigezo Vialuga is my YouTube channel. Yes, that's still me, Wakili. Wakili, thank you very much for joining. Just a second. Anne Kanana says, very true, Victoria. Living your purpose makes you change your attitude. Bless you, girl. Thank you. And that's my aunt. Thank you very much, Aunt Anne. And Anne Heinfoy, greetings from Nairobi. I feel so jealous, but it's okay. She says that's true. Thank you very much, Anne. Thank you very much. And greetings to you. Bring me some goodies from Kenya. Now, from a point of concern, we're going to number 5, which is collaboration. You see, now what Eve and I are doing is we're collaborating, right? We're collaborating with each other in terms of what we do. We are getting to a point of understanding each other and being able to shift your attitude to a place where you now see how you're progressing, right? So we're progressing from victimhood and blaming yourself and, blaming life and blaming others, to a point of, I can be able to be concerned about other people enough such that we can get to a point of working together. We can be able to collaborate. We can be able to look at how can we make things better? How can we make life grow? How can we be able to, this already now has shifted you completely from life has nothing to give me, now collaboration. In collaboration, of course, you want to give your 100. You want to put in your efforts. You want to put in whatever you need to put in, right? And you need to give it 100 because you don't want to disappoint someone else. This is one of the things that is amazing, because you don't limit yourself to a point of it's only me, just as concerned. You also are opening your doors towards trusting other people. You're trusting other people. With trusting other people comes loving other people, comes taking care of other people, comes accepting other people. And all of a sudden you're accepting life and taking it so well. That is where we want to go. We want to shift from everything is against me to I want to work with other people. I want to involve other people. I want to do things with other people, and so on and so forth. I can see Angel says life is 10% what happens to you and 90% what you do about it. Yes, that changed my attitude. Sorry. That changed my attitude towards life. Yes, it did. And I think that's very, very important, as you mentioned before, Angel. We mentioned before in regard to your comment and the fact that life really is only just about 10% of what happens to you. 90% is how you choose to go about it. 90% is how you choose to take it and how you choose to respond to life. And that's why we're responding to life, right? That's why we're responding to life. Now, the 6th step is completeness. Ooh! And if you think that we are at the end, no, we have one more step. Now, I'm going to tell you about completeness. Completeness is being in total acceptance of the fact that you're now where you're at. You're accepting where you're at. You're accepting your job for what it is. You're accepting your situation for what it is. And you're okay with the fact that I will wake up every morning and I may not have control over what's happening to me, but I have control over what I do. I have control over what I say, and that's okay. I don't have control over anything else. And I think this is one of the areas that I personally struggle with, because I tend to overthink. I tend to over worry about certain situations. The other day, it took someone that is so dear to me to remind me, Victoria, you don't have to worry over things that you don't have control over. And she reminded me, and this was my mom. She reminded me that, hey, you always talk about these things and you are not acting it. So this was a situation that was completely out of my control. Something happened to me and I was so worried. I was so frustrated. I was so angry at myself, and I was beating myself up because I was so disappointed in myself. And my mom came and told me, why are you worried? Why? And this is something that we have to learn. Total completeness is total acceptance of what life is. I have control over what I have control over, but the rest, it's okay. Whatever happens, I will adjust. I will find ways around it. And this is the attitude you want to have. You want to have that attitude of whatever happens in life, I will make sure that I turn it around for my good. I will make sure that I shift it for my good. I will make sure that I make it be for my good. That is the attitude that we want to get to. And now the final step. The final step. Yokabi GK, thank you so much for joining. Completeness, total acceptance, powerful conversation girl, learning a lot. Thank you very much. Now the final step. The final step in terms of your attitude shift and how you also get into that level of living in completeness and being who you are is transcendence. If you look at transcendence, it's total freedom. I don't care what happens. I don't care who says what, because even in completeness, you're still worried. You're still worried about people and what they say. I don't care what happens. I don't care what people say. I will do my best. I will be my best. I will put in my effort. And whatever outcome it is, it will not affect my emotions. It will not affect my behavior. It will not affect who I am. What I aim at is being the best version of myself every single day. May my actions be of good. May my actions, my words be of good. And in whatever and whoever thinks what, I will ignore the negative and I will take the positive. This now is what we all aim for. It is the hardest thing to get to transcendence. However, it is possible. When you're living in transcendence, you're living so free in regard to the fact that no matter what, you are so free of worry, you're free of whatever bad, and you live those. Have you ever met a positive bomb that no matter what happens, they are just a positive bomb? You can do whatever you want to do, but they will keep on keeping on. You can't tell them no, you can't put them down, you can't tell them anything negative, and you can't see them change. They are very rare to come by the way, but they are there. I have met quite a few of them. And no matter what happens to them, no matter what situation it is, and this is what I really want to get into that transcendence level, that no matter what, you leave, it's okay because something better is on the way. And this is why we always say the best is yet to come. Because until I live in transcendence, I will not stop learning and pushing and fighting to get to transcendence level, because I need to live in that freedom, total freedom of judgment. And I'm not worried about, because I tend to worry kidogo about what people think. But I am living in complete freedom, regardless. And you just shift. You just shift and you live in transcendence. Your life is just going. It's going. It's going. It's going. It's going. And it's going. No matter what somebody says, you're moving. You're marching forward. Everything is just noise to you. Any negative thing is noise to you. You're just moving. You're just moving. That is where I want to be. And if it's where you want to be, continue following us at Responding to Life, because that is where we are going. That is where we're going. We need to go in transcendence. And with that, we have finished our attitude check for tonight. So in this section, as we did in the section before we talked about personal attitudes, how we relate to people. Now we've talked about attitudes towards life. We were joined by Eve, who had some technical issues, but join us every Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesdays. I hope that we've relayed some wisdom today to you, and that we all will be able to push towards living in transcendence. I know the level that I'm at, and if you cannot remember everything, please just rewatch or go to my YouTube channel or our YouTube channel, Responding to Life, and follow through the 7 stages of maturity. They will be able to help you change your attitude. I know that I'm somewhere. I'm not fully in transcendence. I will not say that I'm completely in completeness, but I'm somewhere. So go gauge yourself, know where you are. And you know what? It's not bad to say that I'm in victimhood, or rather, I'm living in victimhood. It's completely okay. You can live in victimhood, but now the problem is once you realize that you're living in victimhood, what do you do about it? Once you realize that you've not yet moved from completeness to transcendence, what do you do about it? What attitude, or rather, what is your take towards every single step? And if you're living in transcendence, are you living in true transcendence? Or do you still have moments and places that you can be able to make better? Remember, nobody's perfect and we all fall short. But what we do about life, and as Angel said, it's only 10% what happens to you, but 90% is how you respond to it and what you do about it. Now, I'm just going to read the final comments before we go. And Wakili says, if only people could have known about what is being conversed here in Gekwa Fiti Sana. Don't worry. We grow and we're growing and we'll keep on growing every day. So I'm thankful for the people who have joined from the beginning until now. You say, here's the real deal. You automatically become my trainer. And we can change the conversation in this country. And he's speaking about Kenya. So yes. We can definitely change the conversation. Nyokabi says, Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And I think there's no better way to end this conversation. She goes on and says, I think upon these things. If anything is contrary to the same, I just step away. And I think Nokabi has also taught me how to just leave, walk away. So with that said, I will leave you with the final words of Miss Eve, which I've repeated 10 times. Life is only 10% what happens to you, and 90% how you respond to it. And my name is Victoria Nkatha. This is Responding to Life. Join us every Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesdays. Hashtag Wisdom Wednesdays, hashtag Responding to Life, and much more. And we'll be here every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central European Time, and that is 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. East African Time. Angel is somewhere. She's somewhere here. As a matter of fact, the problems, the bad attitude, bad habits, bad ideas, bad thoughts, all gotta stop somewhere. Yes. All you want to do is believe. God bless you with this conversation. Thank you very much. Eve is somewhere. She's hiding somewhere, but she says, thank you for tonight. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Victoria Nkatha, and I'll see you next Wednesday.